Long before all the fancy cocktails and craft ales, there was a time in the UK when almost every pub served up a lineup of simple, dependable favourites, like the kind you'd find on our list today. No fruit purees, no artisan syrups, just a good old glass of bitter, maybe some shandy and a few drinks for the kids with minimal alcohol that also made great mixers. In this video, we take a look back at the old pub drinks that once ruled the bar, but are now rarely seen or have been replaced altogether. In the 1960s and 70s, Long Life was a name that promised exactly what it said. A beer brewed especially for the can, with a long shelf life, but it was just as often poured from the keg in countless pubs. With its golden colour and easy drinking character, it became a favourite among regulars who wanted something consistent and dependable. The branding was distinctive, bright, bold lettering that caught your eye on both bar pumps and supermarket shelves. It was the pint of choice for many older drinkers. It especially gained popularity due to the long life of the can. By the late 1980s, the tide was turning. Continental lagers were dominating taps, and Long Life's image began to feel dated. Slowly but surely, it disappeared from pubs, surviving only as a supermarket oddity before vanishing entirely. Special Brew is still with us in cans, but older pub goers will remember the short, stubby 275ml bottles that once stood proudly behind the bar. Launched in 1950 to mark Winston Churchill's visit to Denmark, this strong lager by Carlsberg quickly became a quiet indulgence for those who wanted a potent pint in smaller doses. The bottles had a certain elegance because of the dark glass, a neat label, and just enough liquid to give you a warming kick without the full commitment of a pint. In the 1970s and early 80s, you'd often see them ordered by the half dozen in smoky back rooms, each one poured slowly into a half-pint glass. Over time, the small bottles became harder to find as canned beer took over, and pubs shifted away from stocking high-strength lagers in that format. Today, they're a fond memory and a symbol of a slower-paced pub culture where you could sip something strong, chat for hours, and not feel rushed. For many who grew up in the 70s and early 80s, Club Rock Shandy was a rite of passage. Technically a soft drink with a tiny trace of alcohol, it came in brightly coloured cans that made you feel like you were joining the grown-ups at the bar. The taste was a fizzy blend of lemonade and beer, sweet and slightly tangy, perfect for hot summer afternoons in pub gardens, while the adults worked through their pints. In Ireland, the Rock Shandy had an orange and lemon twist, but in the UK it was all about that beery tang without the boozy punch. By the late 80s, stricter rules on marketing low-alcohol drinks to children and shifting taste towards colas and branded soft drinks saw it disappear from most pubs. For many, Club Shandy brings back memories of first sips, crisps in paper bags, and the thrill of holding a drink that looked, at least to a child's eyes, exactly like the real thing. Shandy Bass was a pint in a can, ready to go. It was a mix of Bass beer and lemonade that hit just the right balance between sweet and bitter. Launched in the 1970s, it was a staple in pubs and corner shops alike, often served ice-cold straight from the fridge. It was a favourite for those who wanted the taste of beer without the heavy alcohol hit, making it a popular choice for drivers, lunchtime drinkers, or anyone pacing themselves. But it wasn't too well respected in pubs since serious drinkers weren't supposed to go for shandy. Despite this, it was pretty common. The can design, with its bold green and gold, became instantly recognisable. By the 2010s, however, it quietly disappeared since it was discontinued in 2018 after decades of loyal service. For those who remember it, Shandy Bass isn't just a drink. It's more like a snapshot of a gentler drinking culture, where half measures, good company and sunny afternoons ruled the day. Blastaway was never a brand you'd find on the brewery's official list. It was a pub-born concoction whispered about among the younger crowd in the late 80s. The recipe varied by region, but the essence was the same. It was a bottle of castaway alcopop mixed with cider, creating a drink that looked like tropical juice but packed a hidden punch. Its colour was bright and inviting, often served in a pint glass that caught the sunlight like a holiday cocktail. In the days before alcopops flooded the shelves, Blastaway felt rebellious. Sweet enough to mask the alcohol, yet strong enough to catch up with you after a few. It became a summer favourite, the kind of drink that would appear at impromptu barbecues and garden parties as well as in the darker corners of the local. As pub menus became more regulated and branded drinks took over, the unofficial secret menu drinks like Blastaway faded away. Those who remember it recall not just the flavour, but the sense of being in on a fun little secret shared between friends and bartenders. A straw-coloured bitter born in the mills of Sheffield in 1948, Stone's Bitter became a working-class hero by the 1960s. It had an approachable maltiness and clarity that set it apart from darker ales. By the late 60s and early 70s, its popularity exploded beyond Yorkshire. It began dominating Bass Brewery's offerings, and it became their bestseller by the early 80s. However, brewing changes and evolving tastes saw its strength and reputation slowly fade as the keg version was discontinued in 2011. For many, the memory of Stone's Bitter is wrapped in working man pubs, weekly wages, and the feeling of belonging to a community grounded in honest, unpretentious beer. Pony was one of those small but mighty pub staples that packed far more punch than its dainty size suggested. Sold in miniature bottles, this fortified wine was a favourite in the 1960s and 70s for those who wanted something quick, sweet, and warming. Marketed to women as a more ladylike alternative to a pint, its branding leaned heavily on elegance, but in truth, a couple of ponies could have you merrily tipsy in no time. The drink was basically a sweet cream sherry, making it dangerously easy to sip. Often enjoyed as a pre-dinner treat or a late-night warmer, Pony was also sometimes mixed into coffee for an extra kick. Over time, changing tastes and the decline of sweet fortified wines saw it vanish from most bars. Still, for those who remember, Pony will always be that little drink with a big kick, the kind you underestimated until you stood up to leave. A pint of lager with a dash of lime cordial was one of the simplest, most cheerful drinks you could order in a British pub from the 60s through the 80s, which was normally used as a mixer too. It was crisp, sweet, and refreshing, with the lime cutting through the lager's bitterness to make something light and summery. The bright green swirl at the bottom of the glass was part of the charm, a visual cue that this wasn't just an ordinary pint. Popular with both men and women, it was often the go-to for those looking to avoid heavy beers without resorting to soft drinks. Its rise coincided with the growing popularity of lager itself, when pubs began offering more continental-style brews on tap. Over time, however, the lime and lager combo began to feel a bit dated, replaced by bottled flavoured lagers and mass-produced alcopops. Today, it's rare to see anyone order it, but for many over 50s, lager and lime is a memory of hot summer evenings, sticky pub tables, and the friendly clink of pint glasses raised in easy company. Panda Bitter Shandy was sold in bottles and cans during the late 60s and 70s. It offered the taste of beer with just a trace of alcohol, which was enough to make youngsters feel grown up when their parents bought them one at a family outing. The label often featured playful Panda branding, making it instantly recognisable on shop shelves and in pub fridges. Its flavour was sweet and malty, with a faint hoppy bitterness lurking underneath, a perfect introduction for those not yet ready for a full pint. In pubs, it was served cold from the bottle, often alongside a packet of crisps, making it a nostalgic staple of beer gardens and seaside holidays. By the 80s, the growing dominance of colas and lemonades pushed Panda Bitter Shandy out of the spotlight. For many, it's a fond reminder of the days when a pint for the kids meant a fizzy, golden drink that made them feel part of the grown-up crowd. Before Sprite became the household name it is today, Britain had Lead. It was a sharp, zesty lemonade launched by Coca-Cola in the 1960s. Sold in glass bottles with a bold yellow and white label, it was the lemonade you'd get in pubs, cafes, and chippies across the country. Fizzy and refreshing, it had just the right balance of sweetness and citrus bite, making it perfect as a soft drink on its own or as a mixer for spirits. Many pubgoers remember ordering a lager top or a shandy with Lead as the lemonade base, its lively fizz lifting the drink. By 1984, Coca-Cola retired the Lead brand in the UK, replacing it with Sprite to align with its global product range. While Sprite was perfectly fine, it didn't carry the same nostalgia or distinctive flavour. For those over 50, Lead recalls childhood trips to the seaside, stop-offs at the pub with a bottle of pop, and the clink of returnable glass bottles in wooden crates, a reminder of when even a simple lemonade felt special. Peardrax was the pear-flavoured fizzy drink that was also often used as a base in pubs. Launched in the UK in the mid-20th century, it came in elegant glass bottles and was a common sight in pubs from the 50s through to the 80s. Its taste was gently sweet, with a light pear aroma that made it feel more sophisticated than your average lemonade or cola. Its pale golden colour caught the light beautifully in a half-pint glass, and it was as at home in a smoky lounge bar as in a sunny beer garden. By the late 80s, Peardrax vanished from UK shelves, lingering only in the Caribbean, where it still enjoys a cult following. For those who remember it here, a sip of Peardrax meant Sunday lunch outings, polite chatter over clinking glasses, and the comfort of feeling just a little more sophisticated than your years. Top Deck was the drink that made countless 1970s and early 80s kids feel like part of the grown-up world. Sold in small cans, it came in shandy flavours like lemonade and lager, or lemonade and cider, with alcohol content so low it was legally classed as a soft drink. The branding was bold, the cans easy to spot in the fridge at your local shop or stacked behind the bar for family pub outings. The taste was lightly beery but mostly sweet and fizzy, making it a safe, parent-approved option for children while the adults had their pints. Many remember the excitement of cracking open a can of Top Deck while accompanying their family to the pub. By the late 80s, changing attitudes towards marketing beer-style drinks to kids saw Top Deck vanish. Today it's remembered fondly as a harmless rite of passage as your first beer, even if it barely registered on the alcohol scale, and a reminder of simpler times in Britain's drinking culture. Few drinks captured the glamour of the 1950s through to the 1970s quite like Babycham. Marketed as the little bottle of champagne, this sparkling perry came in slim, green glass bottles with the iconic prancing deer logo. Served in coupe glasses, it fizzed with light, sweet bubbles and carried a gentle pear aroma. Babycham was the first alcoholic drink to be marketed directly to women in Britain, offering a stylish, approachable alternative to beer or spirits. It became a staple in pubs, clubs and house parties, its dainty glasses clinking amid cigarette smoke and jukebox tunes. While it never fully disappeared and still exists in niche markets, it lost its mass appeal as wine, Prosecco and Alka-Pops took over in the 90s. Toby Bitter was a name you'd spot proudly hanging above countless pub bars during the 1960s and 70s, often alongside its trademark Toby Jug logo. A classic amber-hued keg bitter, it poured with a creamy head and carried that earthy, malty aroma that felt like home to working-class regulars. It wasn't fancy, but it was reliable, the kind of pint you could settle into for an entire evening without breaking the bank. Served in dimpled pint mugs or straight glasses, it was part of the social fabric. By the late 1980s, shifting tastes, the rise of lager, and changes in brewing ownership saw Toby Bitter fade from most taps. The brand lingered here and there, but never reclaimed its heyday dominance. For many over 50s, the memory of Toby Bitter isn't just about the drink. It's the smell of the pub carpet, the clink of change on the bar, and the comfort of knowing the next pint would taste exactly like the last. And that's it for today's trip down memory lane. Give it a like if it brought back memories of a pub from the past, and don't forget to subscribe for more sweet nostalgia. See you next time.